Tell me, sister, do you swear to speak no word that is not true? To make no weapon with which one man may kill another? To never use the one power as a weapon except against shadow spawn or in defense of your life?
These 3 oaths bind every Aes Sedai, except for those who secretly serve the shadow. Imagine discovering that your most trusted mentor, a woman who trained you for years, who advised queens and generals, has been a servant of the Dark One all along, that she can lie to your face, manipulate the one power to murder innocents, and has been doing so undetected for decades. This wasn't just a nightmare in the world of the Wheel of Time, it was reality. While the gleaming white tower stood as a beacon of the light for 3,000 years, a cancer grew within its walls. Sisters who wore the shawls of their respective AJAHs, but secretly answered to a different master. Women who broke their oaths to the light and swore new ones to the shadow. The Black AJAH. This is the story of the most dangerous conspiracy in the Wheel of Time, how they killed Amelins, sabotaged the Dragon Reborn, and nearly brought down civilization itself from inside its greatest institution. And ultimately, how one woman sacrificed everything to expose them all. Be warned, this video contains spoilers for both the Wheel of Time books and potentially the show, especially in later chapters. The Black AJAH's roots stretch back to the Trolloc Wars, when Ishamael, partially freed from his prison, found Aes Sedai willing to serve the shadow. As Ishamael himself later boasted, for 2,000 years the Black AJAH has dwelt among the others, unseen in the shadows. Yet officially, the White Tower maintained for centuries that the Black AJAH did not exist. Even mentioning its existence within the tower could get an Aes Sedai punished. This denial, of course, only made it easier for the Black Sisters to operate undetected. What made the Black AJAH so dangerous wasn't just their allegiance to the shadow, but their structure. They organized themselves into small cells called hearts, each containing 3 Black Sisters. Each sister knew only her 2 heart sisters and 1 contact outside the heart. This compartmentalization meant most Black Sisters knew the identities of at most 3 others, making wide-scale exposure nearly impossible. Above these hearts sat the Supreme Council of 13, which always maintained exactly 13 members. If one died, a replacement was immediately raised. They met hooded, so even they didn't all know each other on sight. And at the top stood the head of the Black AJAH. For most of our story, a white sister named Alviarin Frieden, who alone knew every member's identity. But even Alviarin answered to someone, the Forsaken Mesaana, who secretly directed the Black AJAH from within the tower itself. What truly set Black Sisters apart was their freedom from the 3 oaths that bind ordinary Aes Sedai. Upon joining, a Black Sister would formally forsake these oaths and swear new black oaths of loyalty and secrecy to the shadow. One such oath compelled them to hold all Black AJAH secrets until the hour of their death, making betrayal nearly impossible. This structure kept them hidden for millennia. And the most frightening part? Even the Amelin seat couldn't spot them, because sometimes she was one of them. In the years following the Aiel War, a silent battle raged within the hallowed walls of the White Tower. While the Aes Sedai, servants of all, believed themselves to be the greatest power in the Westlands, a dark conspiracy festered at their core. The Black AJAH, sisters who had secretly sworn themselves to the shadow, waged an invisible war that would cripple the forces of light long before the last battle began. Their most devastating campaign came to be known as the Vileness, a ruthless purge that began when Amelin Tamra Ospenya quietly initiated a search for the newborn Dragon Reborn. The Black AJAH responded swiftly and without mercy. Under interrogation, Tamra met her end at the hands of Jana Malari, one of the hidden Black AJAHs. The bloodshed did not end there. One by one, Tamra's trusted searchers vanished. Prominent sisters like Maylin and Kareen met their ends in what appeared to be unfortunate accidents. In truth, these were methodical assassinations that claimed all 5 of Tamra's chosen searchers, along with dozens of other Aes Sedai merely suspected of involvement. When Sierin Vayu, the new Amelin, began investigating these mysterious deaths, she too fell to an assassin's blade. This systematic elimination weakened the tower significantly, creating a vacuum of power and experience that would later be filled by the younger, less seasoned Swan Sanchi. Perhaps their most visible triumph came during the White Tower coup. While Elada herself was not Black AJAH, at least 4 key sisters orchestrating her rise were sworn to the shadow. Behind them stood Mesaana, one of the Forsaken, pulling strings through her puppets. The Aftermath, a tower fractured between those loyal to Elada and the rebels who fled, served the Shadow's purposes perfectly. Alviarin effectively controlled the White Tower by manipulating Elada, keeping the Amelin isolated and paranoid, while Mesaana's orders flowed through unseen channels. Meanwhile, among the rebels, other sisters sabotaged from within, pushing for decisions that weakened their cause, a premature declaration of war against Elada, and an ill-advised alliance with the male channels of the Black Tower. Throughout this period, the Black AJAH repeatedly attempted to assassinate those who threatened the Shadow's plans. Egwene narrowly escaped death twice, once from a Grey Man's attack, and again during an ambush in Teleran Riod. Others were less fortunate, like Sara, a novice who simply saw too much and paid with her life. The Black AJAH was not a faceless entity, but comprised individuals with their own stories and motivations. Liandrin Guiral of the Red presented herself as zealous in hunting male channelers while secretly serving the Shadow. Her betrayal of Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine revealed her true nature. She used honeyed words to gain their trust before delivering them into harm's way. Her ability to speak untruths exposed her as Black AJAH, as the 3 oaths would have prevented any true Aes Sedai from lying. Her ambition ultimately led to her downfall. After fleeing the tower with 12 other Black Sisters and stealing valuable Ter'angreal, she eventually failed her Forsaken patron. Mogedian's punishment was perhaps worse than death. Liandrin was permanently shielded from the Source and reduced to slavery in the Seanchan court. While Liandrin operated in the field, Alviarin orchestrated events from within. This former White Sister rose to the highest echelons of the Black AJAH's Supreme Council, personally selected by Ishamael himself to lead their ranks. Her cold, analytical demeanor masked a complete lack of conscience, as she ordered assassinations and framed innocents without hesitation. As keeper under Elada, she controlled information flowing to and from the Amelin while serving as Mesaana's primary agent. When the tower finally reunified, she escaped just ahead of Egwene's Purge, surviving the last battle, only to be captured and confined in a steading where she could no longer channel or cause harm. Galena embodied the cruelty that festered within the tower. This Red Sister, who served as second in command on the Black AJAH's Supreme Council, took personal pleasure in torturing and stilling Swan during the coup. Later, she led the mission to kidnap the Dragon Reborn, a decision that resulted in the catastrophe at Dumai's Wells. Justice arrived in an unexpected form when she fell into the hands of the Shaido Aiel. The woman who had once commanded others' pain became a despised captive under Savannah's control, eventually meeting her end while trying to escape her tormentors. Perhaps most shocking was the revelation about Sheriam Sedai. The former mistress of novices, long seen as a steady, compassionate presence within the tower, had guided countless young women through their early trials. She was a symbol of discipline and care, often firm but fair. But behind that carefully maintained facade, she had betrayed everything she appeared to stand for. A member of the Black AJAH, she swore oaths to the shadow and became an agent of sabotage from within. During the split between the tower and the rebels, she maintained her position as a senior advisor in Egwene's camp, feigning absolute loyalty while secretly meeting with Mesaana's agents, passing along sensitive intelligence and even stealing powerful terangrial meant for the defense of the rebel Aes Sedai. Her duplicity was all the more devastating because she had access to Egwene's inner circle, influencing key decisions during a critical time. When her true allegiance was finally uncovered, Sheriam was arrested and interrogated, revealing crucial secrets under duress. Despite the personal pain it caused Egwene, Sheriam was executed by hanging, a chilling symbol of how deep the shadow's roots had grown and how even the most trusted faces could mask the darkest loyalties. But not all who wore black served willingly. A key figure was Verin Sedai, a seemingly absent-minded brown sister, had infiltrated the Black AJAH decades earlier when forced to join under threat of death. Using loopholes in her dark oaths and her scholarly attention to detail, she meticulously documented the organization from within. In her final hours, Verin made the ultimate sacrifice. Taking a fatal poison to bypass her oath of secrecy, she presented Egwene with detailed notes identifying 203 Black Sisters and revealing the organization's structure, an act of heroism that would prove crucial in cleansing the tower. While some sisters turned to the shadow seeking power and others succumbed to fear, one gave her life to bring them down. As the White Tower fractured along political lines, few suspected that hidden hands were pulling the strings from within the shadows. Among the Forsaken who returned to sow chaos in the Third Age, none hid their hand more cunningly than Mesaana, the silent orchestrator behind the Black AJAH's greatest triumphs. While the tower tore itself apart with schisms and suspicion, few realized that the true mastermind of its unraveling was already within its walls. Cloaked in the unassuming identity of Danelle, a quiet and largely forgettable sister of the Brown AJAH, Mesaana walked the halls of Tar Valon unnoticed. She spoke little, cultivated no allies, and let others dismiss her as a daydreaming scholar lost in her books. But behind that mask, she subtly guided the Black AJAH, manipulated the hall of the tower, and twisted the White Tower's politics toward chaos, all in service of the Shadow's grand design. Her infiltration was so complete, so carefully executed, that even the most vigilant sisters never suspected they sat beside one of the Forsaken. This was the perfect cover. Danelle was an Aes Sedai with no close friends, and a penchant for dreamy distraction, allowing Mesaana to infiltrate unnoticed. From within the tower, Mesaana commanded the Black AJAH's strategic direction, contacting each of the 13 council members to learn every Black Sister's identity. She essentially became a shadow equivalent of the Amelin seat, a shadow Amelin running an entire clandestine AJAH. Under the Dark One's directives, Mesaana's task was to sow chaos among the Aes Sedai, and her accomplishments were significant. As discussed earlier, she was heavily involved in engineering Elida's coup against Swan Sanche and the subsequent Tower Schism, ensuring the Aes Sedai broke into rival factions. Mesaana fed Elida's paranoia and intransigence, which prolonged the White Tower's division. She also stoked internal rivalries, encouraging suspicion and hostility among the AJAHs, leading to the ferocious AJAH feuds that erupted. Mesaana met her end in Teleran Riod, the world of dreams. In a climactic battle within the White Tower, Egwene confronted Mesaana and, using her exceptional skill in the dream world, shattered Mesaana's mind, turning her into a vegetative state. After this dream battle, the woman known as Danelle was found in the tower, mindless and drooling, revealing Mesaana's masquerade to all. Mesaana's infiltration explains how the Black AJAH remained so effective. They had a Forsaken's knowledge and powers on their side. While others ruled by decree, she ruled through whispers and dreams. The Black AJAH's dominance seemed absolute until a single, extraordinary act of sacrifice changed everything. When Verin gave Egwene her carefully compiled list of 203 Black Sisters, along with details of their organization, she provided the key to finally exposing the Black AJAH. Armed with this knowledge, Egwene initiated a systematic purge within the reunited White Tower. Her method was brilliant in its simplicity. She had every sister re-swear the 3 oaths on the oath rod. Those who refused or hesitated were presumed black and arrested. Panicked, over 60 Black Sisters fled the tower immediately upon Egwene's ascension, including Alvirin and numerous others. A few weaker Black Sisters were caught during the escape, but the majority got away. In the rebel camp, where Verin had left her list, Egwene's allies managed to capture over 50 sisters. Many were stilled or executed. A handful were captured as Damani in the Shornshan raid. Others remained at large in the world. The surviving blacks were leaderless and scattered. A few cells of the Black AJAH did regroup to fight alongside the Shadow's armies in the last battle, but without the tower as cover, they were hunted down. By the end of the last battle, with the Dark One defeated and all Forsaken either slain or bound, the Black AJAH effectively ceased to exist as an organized group. Any survivors would spend the rest of their lives in hiding, powerless. A century of lies unraveled in a single day. The story of the Black AJAH isn't just about betrayal, it's about vigilance. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest threats aren't the obvious monsters at the gates, but the hidden corruption within our own walls. For thousands of years, the White Tower stood as a beacon of the light, yet harbored within itself the very darkness it claimed to fight. The Black AJAH thrived not just because of its secrecy and organization, but because of the Tower's pride, its absolute certainty that no Aes Sedai could turn to the Shadow. This is the lesson Egwene finally taught the Tower, that light can only truly shine when we have the courage to look into our own shadows. Only by acknowledging the possibility of corruption could they root it out. As Verin Sedai proved with her final, heroic act, sometimes you must walk in the shadow to serve the light. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Who do you think was the most dangerous member of the Black AJAH? Let me know in the comments below. And what Wheel of Time topic would you like me to explore next? I will be doing more lore videos on the Wheel of Time.